King Ahaziah, son of Ahab and Jezebel, began his reign over Israel. His rule was marked by the same idolatry and wickedness that had characterized his parents' reign. Ahaziah was not a king who sought the counsel of the prophets of the Lord, nor did he strive to lead his people in righteousness. He followed in his wicked parents' footsteps, embracing the worship of Baal. The people of Israel, under his leadership, continued to turn away from the God of their ancestors, indulging in practices that were detestable to the Lord. One day, disaster struck. Ahaziah fell through the lattice of his upper room in Samaria. The fall was severe, leaving him gravely injured and in immense pain. His condition was critical, and the palace was thrown into a state of panic and uncertainty. He was badly injured. Fearful for his life, Ahaziah sought an answer from an unlikely source. Instead of seeking the God of Israel, who had delivered his people countless times, Ahaziah's desperation led him to make a fateful decision. Instead of turning to the God of Israel, he sent messengers to Ekron, a Philistine city. This city was known for its worship of Baal-Zebub, a deity that the Israelites were expressly forbidden to worship. Their mission was to consult Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron, about the king's recovery. This act of seeking guidance from a foreign god was a blatant act of defiance against the God of Israel. This decision revealed the depth of Ahaziah's wickedness. It was not just a moment of weakness, but a clear indication of where his loyalties lay. Ahaziah's choice to seek help from Baal-Zebub, rather than the God of Israel, was a testament to his complete abandonment of his faith. He placed his trust in a false god instead of the one true God. This act of idolatry was not only a personal failing, but also a national tragedy, as it led the people of Israel further away from their covenant with the Lord. Little did Ahaziah know, his inquiry would set in motion a series of events with far-reaching consequences. His decision to turn to Baal-Zebub would not go unnoticed by the God of Israel, and it would lead to a confrontation that would challenge the very foundations of his reign and the future of Israel. Adding to the turmoil of Ahaziah's reign, the Moabites rebelled against Israel. This rebellion was not a random act of defiance. It was a direct consequence of Israel's spiritual decline. When a nation turns away from God, it becomes vulnerable to enemies both within and without. The Moabites, who had been subject to Israel since the days of King David, saw an opportunity in Ahaziah's weakness. Their rebellion was a symptom of a deeper problem, the erosion of faith and obedience that had infected the heart of Israel. The once strong kingdom was now crumbling from within and under attack from without. The prophet Elijah, a powerful figure in Israel's history, received a message from the Lord. God was displeased with Ahaziah's actions. He sent Elijah to intercept the king's messengers. Elijah confronted them with a stark message: Ahaziah would not recover from his injuries. The king's decision to consult Baal-Zebub, rather than the Lord, sealed his fate. Elijah's words were not a curse but a consequence. They were a reminder that turning away from God has dire consequences. The Lord, in his justice and mercy, was using Elijah to call his people back to himself. Ahaziah's decision to consult Baal-Zebub was not merely a matter of seeking medical advice. It was a deliberate and calculated move that spoke volumes about his character and his priorities as a leader. In the ancient world, seeking the counsel of a deity was a profound act, one that revealed where a person's true loyalties lay. By choosing Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron, Ahaziah was making a public declaration of his allegiance to paganism and his rejection of the God of Israel. It was a blatant act of idolatry, a rejection of the God who had delivered Israel time and again. This was not just a personal failing but a national crisis, as the king's actions set the tone for the entire kingdom. The people of Israel looked to their king for spiritual and moral guidance, and Ahaziah's choice to seek Baal-Zebub sent a clear message that idolatry was acceptable, even preferable, to worshipping the one true God. By turning to a false god, Ahaziah demonstrated his lack of faith and his willingness to embrace pagan practices. This was a stark contrast to the faithfulness that God had called the people of Israel to embody. The king's actions were a direct affront to the covenant relationship that God had established with Israel, a relationship that was meant to be marked by exclusive devotion and trust in him alone. This act revealed the spiritual bankruptcy of Ahaziah's reign. It showed that he had no regard for the spiritual heritage of his people or the lessons of the past. The ruins of the ancient temples and the desolate courtyards serve as a poignant reminder of the consequences of turning away from God. Ahaziah's decision was not made in a vacuum. It was the culmination of years of spiritual decline and neglect. He had learned nothing from the disastrous reigns of his father Ahab and mother Jezebel. Their embrace of Baal worship had led to widespread idolatry, moral decay, and ultimately, God's judgment. The overgrown vegetation and broken statues of the palace ruins symbolize the decay and destruction that follow when leaders turn away from God and lead their people astray. Their embrace of Baal worship had led to widespread idolatry, moral decay, and ultimately, God's judgment. The people of Israel had suffered greatly under their rule, experiencing famine, war, and divine retribution. Ahaziah's actions showed that he was not only ignoring these lessons, but actively choosing to repeat the same mistakes, ensuring that the cycle of judgment and suffering would continue. Ahaziah's actions showed he was walking the same path, destined for the same end. His decision to seek Baal-Zebub was a clear indication that he was not interested in leading his people back to God, but was instead committed to the same path of idolatry and rebellion that had brought so much suffering to Israel. The lonely figure walking among the ancient ruins serves as a metaphor for Ahaziah's isolation from God and the inevitable downfall that awaited him and his kingdom. Upon hearing Elijah's message, Ahaziah, enraged and disbelieving, dispatched a captain with 50 men to seize the prophet. They found Elijah on Mount Carmel. The captain arrogantly demanded Elijah come down. Elijah, filled with the power of God, responded with a fiery demonstration. He called down fire from heaven, consuming the captain and his men. A second captain met the same fate. Finally, a third captain approached with humility, recognizing the power of the God Elijah served. Elijah spared this man and went with him to Ahaziah. The story of Ahaziah's downfall holds powerful lessons for us today. It teaches us that disobedience to God has consequences. Ahaziah's refusal to seek the Lord's guidance led him down a path of destruction. The rebellion of the Moabites serves as a stark reminder that when we turn away from God, we become vulnerable to the attacks of the enemy. On the other hand, the story of Elijah demonstrates the power of faith and obedience. Elijah's unwavering trust in God allowed him to perform miracles and stand firm against wickedness. As prophesied, Ahaziah died, his reign cut short by his own choices. He left behind a kingdom in turmoil, weakened by internal strife and external threats. His brother Jehoram succeeded him, continuing the pattern of idolatry and disobedience that plagued the northern kingdom. Meanwhile, Elijah's time on earth was coming to an end. In a dramatic scene, God took him up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha, Elijah's faithful servant, witnessed this event, inheriting his mentor's mantle and becoming the next prophet to guide Israel. Elijah's story is a testament to the power of faith and the importance of standing firm in our convictions. Despite facing opposition and persecution, Elijah remained faithful to God. He challenged the wickedness of his time and boldly proclaimed the truth. His life teaches us that true strength comes from aligning ourselves with God's will, even when it's difficult. Elijah's fiery confrontation with the captains reminds us that God is powerful and will defend those who are faithful to him. The events of 2 Kings chapters 1 through 12, though set in ancient times, hold profound relevance for us today. These chapters are not just historical records, they are timeless lessons that speak to the human condition, our struggles, and our relationship with the divine. They remind us that the choices we make, whether as individuals or as a society, have far-reaching consequences. They remind us that turning away from God has consequences, both personally and collectively. When we distance ourselves from spiritual truths and moral principles, we often find ourselves facing turmoil and confusion. The story of Ahaziah, for instance, illustrates how a leader's poor choices can lead to the downfall of an entire nation. His reliance on false gods and neglect of true wisdom brought about his demise and weakened Israel. Just as Ahaziah's choices led to his downfall and Israel's weakening, our choices have consequences that ripple outward, affecting our lives and the lives of those around us. In today's world, we see similar patterns. When leaders and individuals make decisions based on selfish desires or misguided beliefs, the impact is felt by communities and nations. The ripple effect of our actions can either contribute to the betterment or the detriment of society. However, the story also offers hope. It shows that even in times of great adversity, there is a path to redemption and renewal. The resilience of the human spirit, when aligned with divine guidance, can overcome the darkest of times. The sunrise over the city skyline symbolizes new beginnings and the potential for positive change. Like Elijah, we can choose to stand firm in our faith, trusting in God's power and guidance even in the face of adversity. Elijah's unwavering commitment to his faith, despite the challenges he faced, serves as an inspiration for us all. It reminds us that true strength comes from a deep-rooted belief in something greater than ourselves. His story encourages us to live lives of obedience, knowing that God is faithful and will never forsake those who trust in Him. In our modern world, where uncertainty and change are constants, this message is more relevant than ever. By fostering a sense of community, helping one another, and staying true to our spiritual values, we can navigate the complexities of life with hope and assurance. The lessons from 2 Kings chapters 1 through 12 are a testament to the enduring power of faith and the importance of making wise, compassionate choices. Thank you for watching. There are links if you want to support my work. May the Creator bless you always.